boot channel repairs, seal panel repairs, and getting the underneath of the car all fresh. That's all coming up in this video. Check it out. Let's start by addressing the hatch rubber seal channel on the driver's side. Being the original quarter and over 45 years old, of course there are some pitting to contend with. Luckily it's just that, very mild pitting. I decided to use a spot blaster to get in there and clean the pits out to new metal. You wouldn't believe how hard some surface rust inside pits can be. A wire wheel wouldn't cut it. Some people even use broken drill bits or carbide burrs. Whatever works, I guess. Once all cleaned up, I pulled out my TIG with some silicon bronze rod, built up the low spots and linched it down. After a tiny little channel patch, it was time to weld up the new U-shaped channel. For this I used the TIG for more concentrated heat and a flatter, cleaner plug weld. Here are the doors completely sealed up in Epatech primer, and you can see in the background the rear of the car is sealed in Epatech also. Those burn marks are from welding up the odd pinhole I missed, easily touched up with a brush or spot primed with the spray gun next time it comes out. Now with the doors set aside, there's been a job that I wish I did originally. I don't know if it was a combination of it ain't broke, don't fix it, hard to access, laziness, or hidden under carpet, but it's the ugly, unsightly floor pan repair. This car obviously had a significant repair in a previous life, which resulted in a floor pan graft. So the way I decided to tackle this is to cut the overlap out, weld in the strip from one end to the other, linch it down, smooth it out, and hopefully make it look like it was never there to begin with. Let's go. Okay, so here is the overlapped floor pan join in the not factory location. So I've decided to cut the join and weld a strip in and butt weld it. Underneath is ground down flat, and we'll be having a skim of filler to make it invisible when it's up on the hoist. Up the top here, I opted to increase the strength a little bit rather than grind down the weld beads all the way flat. I decided to leave it up proud a little bit, maintain strength. Whether it does or not, I'm not too sure, but in my mind I think that would work. Another thing I did do is I paint stripped the KBS that was in the floor pan here. I just didn't really like the finish, and I don't know, as you can see it, I mean it's meant to be painted over rust, but I think I feel better just deoxidizing the whole floor pan and just putting some epoxy primer down at the very least. Also, this This top half will be seam sealed as well to make sure there's no moisture penetrating. Just trying to do the best that I can. Excuse the dust, it's still pretty dusty. Same with this side, obviously that's done. This was from a patch panel that I've got. All I needed to use was this section here because it's got the plug area. I still got to die grind that round. Once again, that's all paint strip looking good. Pretty solid floor pans on this car. I didn't even put any front floor pans on this because they were actually really good. And this is that crack repair I did around the seat mount. So what I did all those years ago was just cut it out, welded up all the cracks and then welded that patch back in. So I did need to rework it some areas just because, you know, the sheet metal wasn't like flush with each other. It was sort of, one was overlapped and all that sort of stuff. So still needs a bit more cleaning up to go there, but I'm much happy with that. It looks better from underneath, which I'll show in a minute. So this is the cracked section I was talking about. After linishing the welds down, I brushed Epatech over the area I'm going to be applying some filler. For this, I do my scuffing with some Scotch-Brite and 120 grit by hand. I'll be using fiberglass filler for this repair and just buzzing it down with a DA. I'm not going to be blocking it dead flat, as after all, it is a pressed floor pan with lumps, bumps and ripples just like factory. I just want the welded areas to not look like they've been welded, if you get what I'm saying. Second coat applied to bring up all the levels and just to smooth it out just a little bit more. Not going super crazy. If you look over here where I've already started doing it, you know, there might be a couple little pinholes here and there, but once it's in underbody paint, it should look no different to, you know, the rest of the floor pan with all these little, you know, divots and creases and stuff like that. Just wanted to take out the obvious join like that, which I've still yet to do, but just to make it look like it hasn't been joined in the middle of the floor pan. Still gotta grind away this, make it round. This side done a little bit. Still got some more to do over here. Okay, that's good enough for me. Once it's all primed up and coated, it's not going to look so obvious that that was a patch. Of course, while I'm here, some areas are notorious for surface rust. Off camera, I brought these areas pictured into a state of relatively clean metal. I used acid, Dremels, handheld wire brushes, brushes on drills, the works. I need to remove all the black spray can enamel from this part of the floor. I'm going to be spraying the underneath of the car with a textured underbody paint. Not only do they recommend not going over enamel, but a nice epoxy base will keep this underbelly looking neat and protected for many years to come. Okay, I bought these neat little washers. They're about 4mm thick, laser cut out of mild steel, 14mm bolt hole. These are to strengthen the bolt holes of the lower trailing arm mount. And it works out well because the pointy bit is in the empty space here, because obviously the holes are offset in a little cavity. And if there's any movement this way, obviously the strongest part is there, and it should hopefully stop these bolt holes being elongated. Plus also stitch welded the mounts to the body. So it should be good enough for what I use the car for. The car won't see a racetrack or anything like that, but do little improvements here and there while I'm under here. This car had a very mild side swipe down low. The original door skin told the story, but because of that, if I put a straight edge against the sill, well, you got a bit of a section there that's pushed in. Now, I never picked that up in the first place, mainly because I probably wasn't using a super long board to block the sill panel because it's down low. But let's see what the other side looks like. So that passenger sill needs to be reworked. Now, rather than making up a new piece or pulling it out up to 10mm and then trying to fill in that hole, I might actually buy the replacement sill panel and just cut what I need. And then that way, this line here can be straight. Obviously the sill face could be straight. I can see if any issues inside the sill panel need to be attended to, and I think that repair will be much nicer. The sill panel repair is all welded up, smoothed out, all nice and straight, so I don't have that real long kink that was in the sill panel originally. So hopefully now when a door's on, the bottom edge of the door will be nice and straight in line with the sill panel. So that's all good. Also, there was a little repair I had to do here on the pinch weld. When I first played with this car, I repaired a little patch somewhere about here, and I must have just grinded so much of the pinch weld down that it was so thin, and it just didn't look right from underneath. So I cut out a section and I spot welded it like factory, and then welded it across the bottom, linished it up, so that's better. To finish up the video, another thing to address was the warpage of my boot floor. I had some oil canning from the initial welding of the floor, but also dickhead here accidentally jacked up the rear of the car by the boot floor. I thought the jack was under the diff, turns out it wasn't, so of course I stretched a bit of the floor. As you can see here, I have already shrunken down some parts, but there's still some more to go. I try and find the middle of the stretch area by popping the sheet metal in and out, and also using a straight edge. One thing to make sure is shrink on the convex side, that is, the bulge needs to face you. That's where you need to gather the high material and pull it into itself to shrink. So in this situation, I've had to do some shrinks from the inside of the boot and also the outside of the boot. I don't have an oxy, so I'm using the carbon shrinking rod on my dent puller and replicating an oxy shrink. Just doing fairly small to intermediate circles, tapping around and onto the shrink spot and cooling it down. Also, there is a dolly on the opposite side merely as a backing support. I'm not trying to stretch metal here after all. After all is said and done, the oil canning is gone and the boot floor has tightened up nicely. So the other side of the car is all sealed up in epoxy. What a mish that was, but now there's no more enamel spray paint, no more surface rust, and no more join through the middle, the back section of the car. So that's all good. I'm much happier. It's a perfect base for the textured underbody coating to come sooner rather than later. Well, we're all up to date now with the progress on the hatch, so we'll see you in the next one. Cheers. See ya.